Hey everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel, and today I'm doing another interview. My guest today has appeared in many things. They are an actor and they've been in things such as the Demon Headmaster. Today they're coming on and they're going to tell us more about themselves, more about their career, maybe some advice and also some behind the scenes stories. So it is with great pleasure that I welcome Laurie to my YouTube channel.
Hello, I am Laurie STOTT. I played Angelika in the Demon Headmaster. I'm currently a student, but I do acting as well.
Thank you so much for coming, Laurie. So today I'm interviewing you. I've got 10 questions based on your acting career. And my first question for you is, when did you first get into the acting world?
Well, I have been part of kind of theatre groups in Edinburgh since I was about 4. Start like very small kind of amateur theatre groups, and I just like completely fell in love with it. So that's what really kind of got me into it. And then I was lucky enough to get signed by an agent when I was about 16 years old. And from then I've been auditioning and trying to get as much professional work as possible.
Yeah, fantastic. So my second question is, what was the audition process like for the Demon Headmaster?
Well, from what I can remember, it's quite funny because the whole process seemed so quick to me, like it was just such a blur. But I remember my first audition was on my last day of high school. So I remember going to Glasgow for that. And then I think I had a self-tape recall, and then I went back in for a meeting with the directors and producers, and yeah, I got a call a few days after that.
Oh, lovely. How did you find out about the audition? Was that through your agent?
Yeah, it was through my agent. I remember her, at the time I had quite a few auditions, like that month. And that was just, I remember getting the email for the Demon Headmaster and I was like, oh, that sounds quite familiar. Heard of those books and the 90s series and everything. So it was something I was quite excited to audition for. But she got me that, and I almost couldn't go because it was my last day at high school and I was kind of organising the day because I was part of like my school's pupil voice type thing. So it was one of those things I was like, oh, the chances of me getting it are so low, like I might just not go. And I think the night, like a few nights before, I was like, nah, I can't really like miss this. This is too good not to try. So yeah, I'm very glad I did go in the end.
Yeah, 100%, yeah. So my next question is, in 2016 you appeared in the short film Event Horizon. What was it like being in that?
So that was actually before I was signed with an agent. At the time I was in a small theatre group in Edinburgh, which I absolutely loved. And at one of our sessions, these group of students who were making like an independent film came and they wanted to just have a look to see if they could use anyone for the film, and afterwards they had a wee chat with me, and it was just such a great experience. It was my first proper time on a set, and it was such a lovely way to kind of get into it. I think I really, figured out that it was something I like wanted to do, and the people were great. It was such a fun project. It was a great film.
Yeah, it does sound really fun. Did you know anybody else who took part in that? Because you said like they came to your theatre group, so did you get to work with people from your theatre group as well?
No, they also auditioned people in Glasgow and other groups in Edinburgh, so there was like a mix of us. So yeah, I remember being quite scared because I was going into kind of the read-through, not knowing anyone. It was my first time doing any acting without friends there. But it was a great way to meet people, and yeah, we became so close, the cast. It was good.
Yeah, it does sound really great. Yeah, 100%. So my next question is, do you have any advice to people who want to get into acting?
Well, this is a tricky one because I definitely don't think I'm an expert at all. I've still got a lot to learn myself. But what I would say is try and be as authentic as possible. It's so easy to compare yourself to other people, compare yourself to what everyone else is doing, what kind of work everyone else is doing. And it's just, you get into such a loophole when you do that, a wormhole even. And I think it's just important to do your own thing. There's no right way to do it. I think everyone's experience is completely unique. So just you do you, I think, is the one thing I'd say.
Yeah, that's a lovely advice. Thank you so much for sharing that. And my next question is carrying on about yourself, and is, have you always wanted to be an actor?
I think, yeah, acting is something I was always drawn to from a very young age. And I can't remember the moment I decided I wanted to do acting. I just think it's something that I always kind of naturally was inclined towards. I loved being center stage, I'm not gonna lie. I loved doing performances at school. I loved the kind of attention I got from that. And I think that's a huge part of it. I just loved the buzz of it. And it was just the perfect way for me to express myself. Yeah, I've always really loved it. And yeah, it's just something that's kind of naturally happened, which is very lucky.
Yeah, it's great that you've always loved it. I think it's kind of nice when you've kind of always done it, because you're obviously you're used to it, and that if you enjoy it, you get to like have the fun all the time. So that's really great.
Absolutely, yeah.
So my next question is, does anybody inspire you to get into the acting world?
Well, for this one, I think I've got to say my dad. My dad's been very involved in the industry for quite a long time, and from such a young age he kind of introduced me to he took me to the theatre all the time, which is so lucky. I know a lot of people don't get that kind of exposure to it, and he was in like the pantomime in Edinburgh since I can remember. And I remember going in, getting to go backstage and watch from the wings, and it's just something I totally fell in love with. And yeah, I think my dad's he's just a very lovely human being, and it's something he's introduced to me since I was very young, which is lovely. So yeah, I'll say my dad. I'll be cheesy and say my dad.
Oh yeah, that's so lovely that your dad kind of introduced you to it. I think it's great like looking up to famous people too, but I think it's nice kind of having a family member who kind of introduced it to you, and somebody who can go and talk to.
Yeah, I'm very lucky because of that.
Yeah, 100%. So my next question is switching back to when you're in the Demon Headmaster, and it is, what was it like playing Angelika on the Demon Headmaster?
I absolutely loved Angelika. I think she's such a fierce character consistently throughout, even though she does change quite a lot throughout the first series. She's consistently fierce and witty. I found it very difficult to kind of sustain her energy throughout the series. It's the first time I've played a character for as long as, an 8-week shoot or 9-week shoot, however long it was. And that was very challenging, kind of having to sustain that every single day and go back into that. And I did feel myself kind of slipping into her kind of tendencies when I was at home. It was very strange. But I loved playing her. She's such a fun character to play. The whole experience was great, yeah.
Yeah, she does sound like a fun character, because I can remember she was really horrible at first, but then she started working with other characters, and then they all kind of got a friendship. And yeah, your character went through a lot, I think, in the season.
Definitely.
So my next question is a very difficult question, and it is, what has been the best moment in your career so far?
Well, for this I probably would say getting the call that I'd gotten the part of Angelika. I remember, because that's the first time I've ever got a job professionally in TV, and I just really didn't see it coming at all. And my agent just called me, and I was walking home from something, I can't remember, I was walking home, and yeah, I just remember it was just so overwhelming. I just couldn't believe it. And I just felt so lucky. I just came home, and I remember I had a glass of Prosecco with my parents, and it felt so surreal. I just couldn't wait to get started. But part of me was like, this isn't right, something's gonna go wrong. This is a dream or something. But it wasn't, so thankfully.
Yeah, it sounds like it was a really exciting moment, obviously, for you and all your family, which is really great. So my next question I've got for you is, do you have any goals for your future?
I think if I got to keep working in the industry, if I kept getting work, that would be incredible. That's all I could really ask for. I would love to write a play. I would love to explore different areas of the industry, try out different things, and just keep having fun with it, I think. as long as I'm enjoying my work, that is the goal in life, I think.
Yeah, 100%. As long as you're enjoying it, that's all that matters. So I have one more question for you. This is my favourite question to ask everyone, and it is, do you have any behind-the-scenes stories from the Demon Headmaster?
This isn't a story as such, but one thing I do remember when I think of the filming process was at the time we were filming, Love Island was on, which is obviously like quite a trashy TV show, but for some reason like the whole cast became obsessed with it over this time. What we do, because we were all staying in the same kind of hotel, we'd come back after filming and kind of cram in someone's room. It was usually my room, and we'd just sit and watch Love Island with our snacks, and that's something that kind of stuck out to me as quite a funny thing, because we're all quite different, but it just became such a bond. We'd come in and talk to everyone, like all the crew and everything, about like our thoughts of the series and stuff. So I loved that. And then there was one time that we were filming in a school and there was a piano in the school, and Jordan Crammond and Ellie, they both have beautiful voices, like very musical, and they did a duet on the piano, and that was just lovely. That was like the last week of filming, I think. So I remember that was very sweet.
Yeah, those two things sound really great, and yeah, it must have been kind of nice to have one thing where you could all go in and watch it together.
Yeah, it was like a bond, yeah.
Yeah, so I was like, the cast were quite a family. Was that like the just the younger cast, or did the adults watch it as well?
No, the adults watched it as well. They'll pretend they didn't, but they did. We all loved it.
Yeah, well, that's really great. So we have came to the end of the interview now, and it's been great finding out more about yourself and your character on the Demon Headmaster and your behind-the-scenes stuff. So thank you so much for sharing everything.
Thank you so much for having me. It's very nice of you to ask.
You're most welcome, and thank you to everybody who's watched this interview. I hope you all loved it, and yeah, I'll see you next week for another one. Bye, guys.
Thank you.